This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shayne Brian. Today on Long Way to the Top, we're catching a ride on that long train running with a rock and roll road warrior who helped soundtrack a generation with over 5 decades of harmony-driven guitar-fueled classics. The Doobie Brothers aren't just a band, they're a music institution. Joining us is a founding member, guitarist, vocalist, songwriter behind some of the band's most enduring tracks, and he's seen it all, he's played it all, he's lived to tell the tale. Please welcome to the show, Pat Simmons of the Doobie Brothers. How are you?
Hey, Shane, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. This has been I've been counting down the days to this. Doobie Brothers have been such an enduring force in the music industry, especially in my life, in the soundtrack of what I love as well. And now you've got a brand new album, Walk This Road. I mean, what a legacy.
Really pleased to, have something new, some new songs, some new music. We had a lot of fun doing the record. Worked again with our wonderful producer, John Shanks. John did another record for us, Liberté, which we had a ball making, and this one was equally fun. We're learning the songs to play live.
Great album. I've got to say, after listening to the album many times, that it takes me back to early Doobie Brothers. There's a lot of, I guess, feeling of the early days and the early sounds of the Doobie Brothers in this album.
I think we have probably, through a certain extent, through most of our records, subsequent records from those early 70s time periods, we've always captured a certain essence of who we are as musicians and writers. I think with the last record we did, Liberté, we felt really great about the effort, but that album we made without Mike McDonald. So when we got started on this record, we hadn't even started on it. We were actually, just out. Mike had joined us for some shows and seemed to be really enjoying himself and kind of his return to the fold, however long that's going to be. I don't know, maybe short, maybe long. It's up to Mike. But anyhow, he's been enjoying himself, and at some point it was suggested, hey, we're doing all these shows. Mike, would you feel like doing some recording with us? Because probably it was me that suggested it. I knew that would be a winning formula, a winning combination, simply because Mike's wonderful writer, and his contributions to the band in the past have been nothing short of monumental. And then he had never really recorded an album with Tom, kind of directly involved with his songs, and vice versa. Mike involved, in the recording of Tommy's tunes. And so I thought that would be really a winning combo. And so as we got started with it, we kind of returned to this formula we had been using with John Shanks, basically getting in the studio and writing with him. That's something we did on the last record, just something we wanted to try as something different. And I, was suggested that why don't we go to that formula because it worked for us well the last time. And in a certain sense, we were trying to be expeditious in terms of time, because we had been touring and working on other projects, and so it really worked well for us before, and certainly worked well for us this time. So that was kind of the process. We just kind of jumped in head first, and so the songs. and I'll speak for Mike regarding this. Mike said, when I worked on songs for this album, I was conscious of my direction with my songs. He said I wanted to write songs that I felt would be more in the context of the band, more in the wheelhouse, if you will, of the band's sound. Mike's kind of more, I would call him, somewhat more sophisticated in his musicality. Part of that is his approach with the keyboards. He's able to phrase chord structures in such a way that they become much more embellished. He's got 10 fingers, compared to 4 really that we use. So, his chordal structure is lush but in regards to that, we employed that on our songs. Hey, Mike, can you play this or that for us? But in regards to his writing, I think he tried to come up with songs that he felt might be structurally a little more, would stand alongside some of the things that we were writing that might make more sense in terms of how they were presented. And I think that's perhaps part of your perception that we have returned to a formula perhaps that we had, kind of had going prior to Mike joining the band.
Yes.
Now, Mike's involvement within that structure kind of pushed our bars a little bit higher, I think, in terms of the songs that we wrote and the way we presented ourselves. Not that we're all that sophisticated or complicated in our approach, but I really feel that the songs that we wrote for this record can stand alongside the things that Mike wrote and have a resonance that works for the entire project.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a minute, because going back to early Doobie Brothers, a lot of there's so many different styles that came out, and like you said, when Mike joined the band, there was a lot more, variance and growth in the song structure and song style. Was there a period that you look back on the fondest? I mean, it's a hard thing to say. I don't mean to ask, what's your favorite child, but is there a period that you look back and go, that was my favorite Doobie Brothers period?
I think those moments come over and over again.
Yeah.
In other words, we did that first record and I was like, the Doobie Brothers black and white cover never really, a lot of people have no idea that it even exists.
Yeah.
When we did that record, I was so thrilled with that opportunity to do that record. And if that would have been the only record we'd ever done, I would have said, I did it. I lived this life and I made a record and I wrote songs and I worked on songs with other people that I love and respect. And here's the results of that. And I'd be playing that for my grandkids. Hey kids, here's something I did in 1970. Check it out, and they'd be going, gee, Grandpa's so weird.
Wish they do anyway. Mine do
anyway. But, like we've gone on from there, and every album has held that kind of fondness for me. Every time we recorded an album, everything we ever did, I came out of it wanting to hear it again and again and again.
Yeah.
Till I got sick of it.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't my favorite anymore. And it happens every single time you do a record. And so when you look back on it, every album that we ever did and every era that I was involved in was a favorite era for me.
Yes.
They're all favorites.
Yes.
So now we just finished this record. This is my favorite album.
Is there a song that you are looking forward to playing live from this album?
We're gonna play four songs from the record. We're playing "Walk This Road,"
Yeah.
"Angels in Mercy," "Call Me," and "Learn to Let Go."
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to all four of those songs in different on different levels.
Yeah.
Uh, "Walk This Road" is just a great kind of a band, Doobie Brothers, uh, gang
Yeah.
song, everybody
It's a great
sings
song.
on it, everybody plays on it. We did in the studio, and now we're playing it live. So it's one of those tracks that's really more the band
Yeah.
track, I think, right? So that one's going to be fun in that regard. Angels and Mercy for me, that's something I've written, and it probably holds the most challenge because it goes through all these different changes and
Yes.
loud and soft and I got to sing and play that riff. It's
It's a great riff too.
and I got to sing over that the whole time I'm playing it. So it's like this, pat your head, rub your stomach moment for 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, and then jumping in, playing a loud solo, and then playing something soft, and then
Yeah.
that's going to be a huge challenge. But I like it because it's really rocking. Maybe it's probably
Yeah.
the most rocking thing on the record. So that'll be fun in that regard. "Learn to Let Go" is just a really cool Mike, cool R&B track
Yeah.
that's funky and groove oriented, and the perception for me is like I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to look out in the audience and I'm going to see a lot of beautiful women standing, nodding their heads with their eyes closed, grooving, and singing along. Hopefully, if they know the song, Mike has that effect on the ladies, and that's
He's a bit like
there's
the
the
Pied
perk.
Piper,
There's
isn't
the
he?
perk for all of us,
Yeah.
right?
He's the Pied Piper.
And then "Call Me" is just a Tom Johnston tune. It's got the
Yeah.
groove, it's got the riff. Tommy sings it with conviction. It's more pop rock R&B kind of thing that he does so well. And it's an easy song to play. And that's part of the magic of Tom's songs. There's a lot of artists like that. Neil Young, John Fogerty, guys that Steve Stills, they play the riff goes again and again. It's in the groove, it's in the pocket. They sing the song because they got to have great voices.
Yeah.
And those are fun songs for me personally because I don't have to think real hard. I could just kind of groove and nod my head and close my eyes, and
Away you go.
I thank God for those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to go back to the very first number one song that you had, Blackwater. All right, huge song for you guys. What was the story behind writing Blackwater?
Well, there's a good story. I've told it before, but I never get tired of telling it. I had the riff down, and we were in recording something one day for, I think it was for The Captain and Me, I think was the record. And I was recording it was near the end of the recording, and I was overdubbing a part on a song. And I was waiting. I was doing an acoustical guitar part on a song, and I was waiting to overdub my part. And I was just kind of sitting there, and I think it must have been an open tuning. Must have been in that same D tuning I was recording my part. And I started playing the riff, and Ted looks up and goes, Ted Templeman, our producer, looks up and he goes, what is that? And I said, well, that's this riff I came up with. And he goes, you need to write a song with that riff. He said, there's something compelling about that. I really love that. He goes, do you have a song you're working on? I go, well, not really. I go, I have the riff, you know. He goes, well, you need to think about that and record something. So I carried that riff around for months and months. Yeah. And we were down in New Orleans doing some concerts. We were actually staying in the Quarter at some hotel, and we were driving around the area, Shreveport and Biloxi and different areas down in the South, playing clubs and shows down there. And I had a day off, and I jumped on the streetcar, which goes up St. Charles Street. It goes up to the Garden District in New Orleans. That's up near the college area up there. There was I talked to somebody and they said, yeah, there's a laundromat up there. You could do your laundry. So I probably smoked a joint or something. And,
no.
And packed my laundry up and jumped on the streetcar, and I'm going uptown to the laundromat. And it's really hot. It's summertime in New Orleans. It's really hot, and it's raining out, and the sun is shining. Right? It's like I call them sun showers. You know.
Yes.
And I'm on and it's sweaty and hot, and on this streetcar packed with people. The windows are all open on the car, and we're heading uptown to the laundromat. And I always carry a pencil and paper with me, and I'm thinking, this is so I'm probably stoned. I go, this is so magical. Something about this being on the streetcar. It's raining outside. It's hot. The rain's coming and it's cooling things down. And smiles all around. I'm looking around this, the people on the street and people in the streetcar. And I started jotting things down. And the first thing I think I wrote down was, if it rains, I don't care. Don't make no difference to me. I'll take that streetcar that's going uptown. And that was
it.
Which is the second verse of the song, I think.
Yeah.
It starts out that way. Well, if it rains, I don't care. Don't make no difference to me. I'll take that streetcar that's going uptown. I like to hear some funky Dixieland. And so it was about my experience there in New Orleans. And I didn't equate it with the riff at that point. It was just poetry that I was writing. But I was thinking of my experience. This is the New Orleans experience. This is what I want to write. I want to write something about what's happening right now. And then I wrote that, and then I started thinking, where I got to the laundromat, and I'm sitting there in the laundromat. Where am I here? I'm on this right next to the Mississippi River. It's a stone's throw from where I'm sitting. What experiences on the Mississippi? Well, I had no experiences on the Mississippi. And so I'm thinking, well, my experience is Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer took a raft on the Mississippi, and they sailed down to somewhere and had adventures. And so I thought, well, that's what I want to do. That's what I would want to do if I was on the Mississippi. I'd want to build a raft and float down the Mississippi. And so I wrote that into the song, or into my poem at the time I wrote that. And so I was thinking, Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. And then, the other things I love to do in New Orleans, really the biggest thing I think about before I get to New Orleans is what's going on with the music. what am I going to hear in the French Quarter this time? And if that, in those days, it was the early 70s, so there was Dixieland everywhere, all the clubs. Later on, it turned to like, Urban Cowboy came out and it turned to country music. So there was, hillbilly bands everywhere, rockabilly bands all around the Quarter. But at that time, it was all R&B and Dixieland, Fats Domino, guys playing Fats Domino songs. And so that was, I wrote that into it. I want to hear some funky Dixieland. And I don't know where the dance a honky tonk. I don't know who does that, but that's what I was thinking. Somebody does. I needed something to rhyme with something probably. And anyway, so that was, and then I wrote, and the paddle wheelers were out on the Mississippi right there, and they're still there in town. They take the tourists out on day trips and nighttime trips on the paddle wheelers. So I wrote something about I needed something to rhyme with. I said something about catfish are jumping. Nobody ever saw a catfish jump. They don't jump, right? But I needed something to rhyme with paddle wheel thumping, catfish jumping. So I think I had the paddle wheel thumping first and the catfish jumping. So anyway, that's how that. So I wrote the song, and then later on, I thought this might work. Something here might work with my riff that I had, and so then I wrote the song over those chords that I had.
Yeah, such a magical song.
It was just, everything is pretty random in life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now I want to talk about this term that has been thrown around a lot, and you were in a documentary. I'm gonna say it, yacht rock. Are you a fan of the term yacht rock?
Well, you know what Donald Fagen said about that.
I know exactly what Donald Fagen said.
Everybody knows it.
Everybody. That was such a pivotal moment. It was sort of like, I don't know whether I should like it or not.
Blankety blank. I've always thought that was such a silly thing, and it really is.
It is. It is. But it also
it's what
it was a fun term that helped I think like revive a bit of an interest in that period of music.
Well, as now, at the time I thought, oh man, how embarrassing, And then those skits were like, they were poking so much fun at everybody. I thought, oh, those assholes. And now I laugh at all that, of course. Yeah. And like you say, I think with labels, it was a couple of radio guys, I think, that started the idea there. That people are always looking for something to hang their hat on. I see you've got your hats hanging on some
on the wall
deer
there.
Horns back there.
Yeah, well, you guys did have an album called The Captain and Me. I mean, right? So there was that.
Worked. Yeah, there you go. That worked well for us. So, it was just a tongue-in-cheek thing, and like you say, it kind of refocused people's attention on really songs that and bands that perhaps fell out of favor because the music was a little bit more sophisticated, and I don't say that like, oh, we're so great or anything. No. I say that in terms of bands like Toto and David Page and people who are incredible players, people that I admire, the Jeff Porcaros of this world.
Yeah.
It was a music that, after the 70s came the Sex Pistols and, bands that, the Clash and so on, bands that really simplified rock down to the basics. Let's play this song and let's use 2 chords at most one chord most of the time, you know. And let's
what
keep
does
it simple.
what does Bono
We're not
say?
worry about being in tune, and let's not worry about these harmony crap, you know. That's for swells, you know. Let's get back to what rock and roll was all about. Well, I unfortunately, Elvis had, you know, the
Very,
backup singers that sang great songs. The Everly Brothers were great singers. They're the ones that created rock and roll. Chuck Berry wrote really sophisticated stories, you know, whatever language that he might have used to express that. His stories were like really deep, you know, that about, you know, guys cruising down at super fast speeds and showing off and, you know, taking the girl along for a ride and showing her what, you know, real guys could do behind the wheel. You know, those are kind of sophisticated topics. And so those were ideas and things that, you know, really for us, that was our rock and roll. That's what we cut our teeth on, those kind of things, you know, Bobby Darin, Little Richard, really real, you know, the Coasters, harmonies, stories. They weren't just, you know, let's, you know, let's knock each other around and say, you know, whatever disrespectful crap we can say. And I don't put that down. I'm just saying that was a time period that I loved. I liked that. You know, I liked punk rock. I love Elvis Costello, although he was outside of that, but an expression of that time period that again, you know, more sophisticated music for sure.
I think though the whole watching that documentary, the one thing that I really took away from it was the camaraderie and between all of the bands around at that time, and how you all helped one another out with the albums. I mean, it was like circles within circles. Someone's on this album and that album, and you're really sort of working together.
You know, we recorded most of our records at the time in Los Angeles. Pretty much, you know, 98% of our records were made down there. And so we got to know a lot of those folks who were also making records. Some of them played on our records. We need somebody to come in and do, you know, some cool synthesizer stuff, or we need somebody to come in and play some percussion. You know, we have Milt Holland or, you know, somebody, you know, some great studio guy to come in and do something on our records. And so, and we're recording in nearby studios where we would bump into people that we knew. And so that was, you know, there was a camaraderie going on there. And they would say, hey, can you know, come in and do something on our record? We need some background. You know, Paul Williams, I bumped into Paul Williams. Hey, I need some background vocals. Would you and Mike feel like singing? Elton John just called. He wants some background vocals. You know, we go in and do something. Oh, Little Feat wants you to play. Ted Templeman, our producer, was producing Little Feat. He goes, oh, I'd love you to come and play on this Little Feat record. Can you do that part, you know, kind of like you did on our record on this song? So those are kind of great moments for us. And there was a real camaraderie within that. And then we're out there playing on the road and again bump into those people. And there was a huge mutual respect in terms of that music from that era. And we wanted to learn. When Toto was doing records, you know, they were doing stuff with the Tubes. They were playing on Tubes records, Oddball, stuff like that. And I listened to that and went, holy crap, that is so great. They lifted the bar for all of us. And I would go see them play somewhere and, you know, being able to get in and rub elbows a little bit. I was like, whoa, this is a moment, you know. See Steely Dan somewhere. Those were just, you know, highlights for me in my, you know, musical path. So yeah, you're right. Anyway,
if you could sit down with your 1970 self before the Doobies sort of took off, what advice would you give him for the road ahead?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Practice.
All right, and last question. What are you listening? I love to ask this because it gives me an insight. What are you listening to on your turntable right now?
Right now, well, Tommy Emmanuel is my favorite guitar player, probably. Nice. I just got turned on to Duffy, which I had never really listened to her before, and I freaked out. You know, it was so great listening to her songs. I just thought that's another. I don't know how I missed it, but it was so good. Jamestown Massacre is kind of one of the more contemporary groups that I really like. I love the harmonies. Those guys just have such a great blend. And then I kind of, you know, old school guy. I still listen to old music. I love Stevie Wonder, and I'm a blues guy. I listen to Albert King all the time, and I'm trying to think what else I've listened to lately. Leonard Cohen. I continue to listen to Leonard Cohen. I think I never really listened to Leonard Cohen when he got older. It was always just so weird to me to hear that voice. I was used to listening to some of those earlier records, which I liked, but I was never a huge fan. I just liked some of the songs and the records. And then I listened to the newer things that he did with his band, and I think, holy crap, how did I miss that stuff? And you know, so I really think that's something very cool anyway. That I really like that.
Fantastic. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Of course, you're hitting out on the road. Good luck with the concerts. Hopefully, the reception, which I'm sure it will be the reception to the new album, is going to be fantastic. Great album, and you've done just an amazing job with it.
That's so kind of you. Thank you, Shayne. I really appreciate that so much. It means a lot.
Yeah, Pat Simmons, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Long Way to the Top. Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast, and head over to Facebook at the Long Way to the Top podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.